The Crash Course Podcast is brought to you in part by DerbyParts.com, Smashmasters, Derby Parts, and Derby Inc. Magazine. Live it, breathe it, be it, Derby Inc. This is the Crash Course Demolition Derby Podcast, recorded live at the FingerLinks1.com studios in downtown Seneca Falls, New York. And now your host, Chris Marquardt.
Good afternoon, good evening, good day. Thanks for joining us here on episode number 20, I think it's number 22 already, of the Crash Course. We got Guy Raymond is here in studio with us. Brian is also here. We've got Steve Bucknam on Skype. We're going to be talking with Greg Alger from down in Shenandoah County, Virginia, and we're going to be talking with New York State champion Andy Vona as well a little bit later on. Both of those guys are going to be calling in on the DerbyParts.com hotline. Crash Course presented by Keystone Nationals. Also want to make a quick mention of the good folks at Smash Demolition Derbies, who we're really looking forward to that trip coming up in around Memorial Day weekend. We're going to be hanging out a little bit with Sciopa Racing. We're going to be doing all sorts of busy stuff down there with DerbyTees.tv. Going to be a real exciting trip. Derby Tees is behind one of the divisions. We've also got the Giant Headline division, and DerbyParts.com, real active with that show. One of the premier shows, we're going to see if Rick Clark can go out there and double up and win a second one. He had the chance to win the one last year. Outstanding 2-day show, and it is one that you don't want to miss. We're going to be there for that. They're going to have an ad running in the next issue of Derby Inc. Magazine, which is coming out next month, so we're just a couple weeks away from that. A lot of people are looking forward to getting their first taste of that. So everybody that's wondering, yes, it is coming out. No, it hasn't gone under. Yes, it is going to happen. There's just been a couple things going on, including those good folks at UPS, who we've been dealing with quite closely as we work through the last couple of weeks. But welcomes to everybody. You know, Guy, glad you made the trip up. We're going to be getting Greg Alger on the phone here momentarily. One of the topics that I wanted to hit on is once again, there's some rumblings that are coming up that it seems like every 2 or 3 years this thing comes up. And somebody wants to do an alternate state fair championship. They're tired of what's going on with JM Production. They're tired of the New York State Fair. They're tired of Syracuse. They want to have an alternate championship. A couple years ago, Brett tried to put one together. Brett Rallier tried to put one together at Weedsport. That fell through, and Kenny Swingle and Heavy Heating Productions ended up taking it over. And after it rained out the first week, they had it the second week. And I think Gary Brown ended up winning that in 2011. And that event has been dormant now. Brian Sipple has teamed up with Jeremy Corcoran at Canandaigua Motorsports Park. They're going to have a whole bunch of compact shows over there, a couple youth shows. They're going to be running in conjunction with the weekly racing program, and Jeremy, it looks like Jeremy's going to be hosting a event at Weedsport. If that happens, he wants to have a demolition derby, and Brian was asking some of the thoughts on that and what we should or shouldn't do with that. Do you go the way of running full size and hang $2,000 out there to win and try to get the full size guys? Or do you go the other direction and stick with what Brian knows with the 4 and 6 cylinder division and keep that nice purse payout out there, run a one-shot go through and do that? And also, what's the qualifying process? Do you let anybody who won a county fair come and run? Because that's going to turn into a lot of cars. So I just wanted to get some of your opinions, and Guy, I figured you're going to be one of the best guys to ask this about, because you run so many compact cars. You don't run high dollar stuff. You run pretty much stock rules, and I was wondering, having run a couple big cars last year and having run some small cars first, what were your thoughts on this, and in what direction would you like to see, if it happens, would you like to see it go?
If they decide to do that show, I'm thinking, it'd be good to make it an invitation only, then you draw the cars, and then you'd have to decide after that aspect is if you're going to keep it chain and go, you know what I mean, or you're going to be able to allow a little bit of building, because that's going to divide the classes, that where if you're going to have a 4-cylinder, 6-cylinder, or you're going to have an 8, I know JMs, they're opening the rules now where you can run your 6-cylinder front-wheel drives in that class because they want 80 or newer or 79 or newer. So is that what it's going to be, or are they going to allow the old cars?
Well, I mean, it's early discussions. I mean, they haven't even decided what classic car, and I'm almost leaning towards doing the 4s and 6s. I really think that's probably the way to go.
Yeah. I would think that it would be better off to go to the 4 and 6. I mean, there's
4 and 6 one shot for $2,000.
Yeah, there's a lot of good paying shows around now, or there's getting to be a lot for the full size cars. But I mean, there just isn't a real good paying compact car class. I mean, run them both together, and
Well, the 4s and 6s can compete with one another.
Oh,
I mean,
absolutely.
we've seen that time and time again. I mean,
Well-
Steve can actually tell us a little bit about running those two together. He's seen that at the Northeast Championship a gazillion times.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, even a lot of the stock shows out here, I've even had times where myself and other guys have run compact 4 or 6 cylinders against the full-size cars in like a regular full-size derby and still done well.
Well, I think when we were in Minnesota, I'm pretty sure the compact guy that won Best of Show, that was a 4-cylinder, and I mean he was junking everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, Honda Accord.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it would. I think he'd probably have his best following or his best support with a smaller, with the compact cars.
Well, I'm looking at the divisions, too, that some of these guys have run. When you look at the show that John King has put on, and at Fulton, they have their annual Eve of Destruction in the middle of summer every year, where they bring in Chris Morena with Mo Stunts and stuff like that. The class that they get that's the most highly attended is the 4 and 6 chain and bang, and you've also got I think this. Let's see if this is a 540 number.
Oh.
That's our guy. You also have a situation where let me put Greg in. Hang on 1 second, Greg. Greg is in the board. We're gonna mute that line just for 1 second. We'll be right with you, Greg. You look at what they've got at the Chain and Go, which Guy has run before with those same Chain and Go rules under John King at Black Rock twice this year, and he got second, and he ended up getting Compact Showman of the Year award from Smashed Empire Films because of that effort. But you've got the Perros, who used to be full-size guys that have kind of backed down into that compact realm. Jeremy Gully brought 4 or 5 youth cars, and they ended up running those in the compact division. Adrian Gilbert, he carried an in-car camera out there, and they have a really, really solid following in that Fulton area coming down from Sandy Creek and in Watertown. I imagine that for the right money, those guys are going to make the trip too.
Yeah, 'cause I mean, it's Fulton the Weedsport isn't all that far of a tow. You know what I mean? It's it's maybe 20 minutes, half an hour more for a tow for them. But I mean, I think he'd probably
I think so too. There's not a lot of those 70 cars, so they got the V8 guys. They don't want to run their 80 or newer V8s anymore. And you've seen that, like with Rick and a lot of the guys at State Fair, they brought Luminas up there. So if they do open that class, and they're gonna say, okay, it's a 4 or 6 cylinder chain and bang, $2,000 to win, I think the cars are gonna explode. You're gonna see a lot of Luminas. You're gonna see a lot of Cutlasses. It's gonna be a lot like what is that, Metal Destruction down there in Cuba.
Right.
I think it's going to end up like that, but it might even be bigger because
Sure.
it's in central New York,
Yeah, the Metal Destruction show, the compact division, I think pays $1,200 to win.
Yeah.
Well, it's not Metal Destruction anymore. Smashed Internationals, I should probably know that. It is $1,200 to win. We're going to have an ad for that a little bit later.
Yep.
Way to go, Chris.
Yeah.
I think that the key, though, for that show to be successful is the right set of rules. Having a big payout for it doesn't solve all problems. I mean, I saw that last year out in Brookville. They had their compact nationals. They paid $4,000 for their compact show, and they had 16 cars show up. Mm-hmm. So it's a matter of
and they ran heats with that, didn't they?
Rules.
They ran heats.
They ran heats in a feature, and like I said, 16 cars. They ran 2 heats in a feature. The guys that came put a really good show on, but what it came down to is I guess it wasn't the right set of rules for those guys. They didn't want to bring the cars out.
The other part of that equation is not only having the right set of rules, but also having the right inspection process that keeps everybody honest.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
the biggest
That comes
thing.
in handy.
They got to have good inspectors.
That's
Respect for a show goes a long way.
that's the thing is rules are the first part, but having somebody that enforces them, I think, is definitely the second and sometimes more important part.
We're talking a little bit about money for the compact guys and bigger shows that may or may not crop up. Somebody who can tell us a little bit more about that, having run down in Virginia, in the Woodstock area, Greg Alger. He was the 2013 Tuesday night champion at the Shenandoah County Fair in Woodstock. Greg, welcome to the program. He's on the hotline.
Hey, Chris.
Hey, man. Thanks for joining us here tonight. You caught a little bit of what we were talking about there. What are some of your thoughts? What are you winning at your local fair when you win a one-shot compact deal like you did this year at the Shenandoah County Fair promoted by Nationwide?
Well, I mean, I think we won like $100, to be honest, at the feature there.
Yep, $100.
Wow. That's our heat.
Wow.
That's heat wins around here.
And and we're talking about a 4 and 6 cylinder division up here that could potentially pay $1,500, $2,000 to win. So I mean, is that something that would be appealing to you to come all the way up from Virginia to run?
I mean, that's a pretty big haul for us, but
The correct answer, Greg, is yes. You'd love to come and run in New York. Go on.
yeah, I mean that's a pretty long haul for us, but it would be a lot nicer to actually have some shows that pay actually, at least 15 or not 1,500 to 2,000, but if we could just get $500, classes around here would be nice.
How many cars did you have in the class the night you won?
At Shenandoah County, I think it was like 6 cars, 5 or 6.
Wow. And Broome paid, what is that this year, $350, and we had like...
You had to split the field.
Yeah, we had like 38 cars.
Yeah, it was crazy, Broome County.
Yeah.
And Greg was in the 4 cylinders, and the 6 cylinders had a few more cars. The 6 cylinders are starting to become one of the most popular classes down there at the Shenandoah County Fairgrounds. The full size are being outnumbered by the 6s, and the 6s run all together, all at one time, and they're insane. Every year that I've been down there, 2 of them have gone full track, hit back to back, and they've both spun 90 degrees in the air before they came back down to earth. They're out of their mind. All of the guys down there. Greg, you're not exempt from this. All the guys down there are out of their mind. They drive crazy hard, which is great to see. But they're doing it, and they're not getting the respect really that they deserve in terms of paybacks.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
I feel that's how it used to be up here too. Up here we used to drive we want to say balls. We used to drive the balls off our compact cars. It used to be just 4 cylinders. Well, the number started dwindling. One year we only had like 4 cars, at Tioga or Broome. That was 4 cars a class. So what they did is they opened it to 6s and 4s. Next year, everybody had 6s. It was crazy because you've seen most VA guys are like, oh, I'm not going to run a 6. But then the next year, some of those guys showed up with 6 cylinders. Right. And that's all they could get.
Sure.
The price of cars and the quantity of them's not there, So I think it would be a good show, 4s and 6s. I think somewhat chain and bang, like do a bumper maybe, allow a couple tires, but don't go as far as skidsters and 5-point cages and stuff.
The rules for that potential show, by the way, Brian Sipple's listening at home, the rules for that potential show that we're talking about in Weedsport have already been posted. If they do that show, they're going to follow the rules that are posted currently on the Ransomville Speedway website. Brian's going to be doing a show out there 4th of July weekend. So if you're interested in following up on that, the rules are there, and that's what they're going to be following. They've already made the decision that those are the rules. If they do it, that's what they're going to follow, the rule book, so you can get more information out there. Greg, how hard is it to find cars down there for you? I know Guy spends a lot of time, scouring the countryside and bringing home a lot of junk cars because it's more fun to wreck them before they go to the crusher. How hard is it for you to find cars down there in Virginia?
The compact cars and stuff like that isn't really too bad. Full size really isn't getting real bad. But it's more of, since we got a bunch of scrapyards that just opened up, it's more of, you can pay me $500 or $600, or, we're going to just take it to the crusher. So
right. And you also run, last year you ran Luray the Friday before Shenandoah County, right?
Yep.
And that same car had a run on it from previous to that as well?
I ran the Lumina. That was a V6 car.
Okay.
Shenandoah County. That Lumina ran Rockingham County, and it placed first. A good friend of mine was driving it then. Mm-hmm. Her son actually drove it at Luray and placed 3rd with it. And then I took it to Woodstock and won with it. And
he was fighting ignition problems the whole night. I mean, when we watched that show in Sturgis, and we've talked about it before. That guy he was getting just enough ignition out of the car to start up and make a hit before a 60-second clock ran out. Greg was fighting that thing the whole night, and he ended up, came around where he was the last car to make a hit, and the other guy couldn't refire. It was I think it was Gary Wayne Shipe that was second, and couldn't get the car to refire, and Greg came home with a win, and certainly had to fight for it in terms of keeping the car running.
What kind of rules are you guys running down there?
We just run basic nationwide rules. I mean, you can weld them up a little bit. I'm actually helping promote a derby at the Shenandoah Speedway now. Mm-hmm. And we're kind of opening up to more of the beginner type guys that we're trying to lean more towards a very limited weld class that, anybody can build a car for. You know, you don't have to weld all summer to get one done.
The one thing I'd like to see, I think, with compacts, just to try to kind of keep the cost down,
is them to allow roof hatches so you can drive one.
That's not funny. I'd like to see, the rules catered for safety. You can weld your doors. You can put a 4-point cage in it. But then other than that, I'd say leave them stock. Let's see who the driver is. I mean, obviously move your battery, and if you can safely move the gas tank, safely move the gas tank. But I mean, I know guys that are, they're coming to derbies with compact cars with 76, Impala bumpers on them, and it just
cut off, and it makes you sick to your stomach because you're thinking, I could have put that on something big.
Yeah, I mean, it's not only that. I mean, it's if you want to run a class where you build like that, then run the class where you can build like that. But I mean, I think.
But we've been a lot of places. There's a market for outlaw compacts. I mean,
There
even limited weld compacts. I mean, they had the last show that they had at Canandaigua, Brian's last show that he had there was a heavier build compact rule, and it drew pretty well.
Yeah, I do agree with both of y'all. There should be a set of rules, but not overkill. But that's the thing with compacts. With a compact car, there's a fine line between reinforcement and safety. You look at the car and you can be like, yeah, that's safety. But then if I'm a driver and you're building that car, I look at that car and it's reinforcement. If you put a full point cage in a little car, that's reinforcing it. The seat's not ending up in the back.
Right.
It's, what I'm saying? It's
A gas
stopping
tank
at the hump.
A gas tank protector in aluminum is going to do the same thing as a gas tank protector in.
Well, I didn't say anything about gas tank protector. I just think there should be the bar from
Seat to
door
seat.
post to seat post, or seat post to seat post, doors on the sides, and then a dash bar. Basically, just putting the driver in a cage. Because I mean, like the guy, to refer back to it, the guy that won hardest hitter in the compact show at Winter Slam. They stopped it because his trunk and axle and everything else was about 2 inches from the back of his head. And he was still trying to go. I mean, he's like, no, I'm good. And, they talked him out of it. But,
I would argue, though, that having a 4-point cage in a compact class that is aimed towards newcomers maybe isn't for safety. And I'm saying that from an inspection standpoint. I'll use Hartford last year as an example. Myself and some other guys took care of the inspections for the compacts in the stock class last year, and a lot of the newer guys that were coming in, a lot of the issues we saw were with unsafely welded cages or unsafely placed cages, where the stuff that they put in actually put them at more of a danger than if they went without it.
Fence
So
posts.
if the class is really geared towards newcomers, make them safe by letting them wire the doors tight, or even put plates on the doors if you want to weld the door. But you need a spreader bar maybe, but I mean, come on, guys ran for years and years and years with no cages, and they did just fine.
And I've been doing that for years myself. I've never did anything up until about 2 years ago. I started putting the seat bar in, and the seat bar just saves from the side. You get hit in the side, it doesn't keel in the two-door. But that's all you really need is a door-to-door. You stick a little plate on the end of your bar, make sure I say at least go a eighth of an inch thickness. A little square stock round bar, tied to 2 plates or 4 by 4 inches right behind your seat. Make sure it's like most places I run, they say it has to be within like 12 inches of the back of your seat. I know a lot of guys that are running full cages and they're running them to the rear humps. And like Steve just said, it's a fine line between safety and reinforcement. Some of these guys are putting them in with a little bubblegum welder, they don't stay.
Well, that also happened in Minnesota when 2 hits in, there was a red flag or however long it was, and all of a sudden I looked to my left and there's a guy handing out a piece of his cage to a flagman. I went, ooh, that might not be a good thing.
I mean, what about you, Greg? What do you prefer in terms of your build process? I mean, you can get away with a little bit you can get away with a little bit under the nationwide rules, and then we've got some place like Dunkirk where the compact rules are pretty much the same as what they can do with the big cars. What do you prefer to do?
With our compact cars, I mean, I'll be honest, I leave the passenger seat in just in case the doors would come in, and that kind of will slow it up some. But I've never really had a car that was that bad. Having a seat bar, I did break the backing off of the seat at Luray one year, and I drove from the back seat of the car, and you know me, Chris, I'm a pretty big dude. I'm 275 pounds. That was a job. Seat bars for me are pretty much mandatory. I mean, I don't like driving from the back seat. That hurts.
Right.
But yeah, like as what I'm going to do with the rules for the Speedway Derby, seat bars are mandatory. I mean, we're going to be on asphalt, and that's going to be ridiculous as it is.
That's awesome. I miss the days. Not that I ever drove them, but I miss watching.
And you're doing a couple of them out there, right?
Yeah, we're doing one June 28th, I think.
Right.
I can't even imagine how hard compacts are going to hit on asphalt because they pick up speed, and I mean when they get down to it, they pick up speed and hit a ton on dirt. Even the frozen ground out west, there was some awesome hitting going on.
Yeah.
On asphalt, that is going to be
not enough speedy dry, right? You'll never have enough speedy dry down there on those because I used to watch them down at Shingle-Lot, like you guys talked a couple shows ago. I used to watch them at Shingle-Lot when I was 7, 8 years old, and they had a couple front wheel drives a year down there. There was a Cadillac I remember that just, my God, those cars as soon as they said go, they're gone. You know?
What's your wheelbase spec down there for your speedway show? Your speedway shows?
I'm going to do, if it's front wheel drive, 4 or 6 cylinder, it doesn't really matter. I'm going to do a 110 inch for the front. That way we can let luminas and stuff like that run.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We're going to do 106 for the rear wheel drive cars.
Okay.
Kind of limit. The only AMC that you can run is a Pacer.
Right.
But,
do you have one?
Stray away from like the Hornets and stuff like the bigger ones.
Yeah, Bobcats and stuff like that.
Yep. But Chris, can you imagine the carnage that is going to happen down there?
Oh yeah, it's going to be crazy. I mean, like we were talking on Facebook, I'm bummed out that the dates are falling the way that they are because I'm not gonna. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to swing getting there. I mean, one of those dates we got to be in Brockton, Massachusetts that same day. So I mean, I said at least we at least got to talk about this because everybody in the show is gonna love to hear about these compacts that are running asphalt.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's gonna be an awesome show.
And this is even more prodding at Guy that he's got to get a trailer that's going to be able to survive a tow down to Virginia so he can participate.
I'm down for blacktop. That's awesome.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, but racing slick's the way to go.
That's going to be intense.
Yeah, and they got two of them. They got the one in June 28th, which is really going to be that's going to give them a good barometer of what they're doing right and what they're doing wrong. And from there, they're going to be able to make the adjustments that they need to for the second show. And that second show, everybody that's got one to clean up is going to be there and ready to turn it inside out.
There's going to be that show. I don't think that run will be 10 minutes.
No. Well, I mean, it might be. I mean, if somebody wants to really, really drag their feet or something, but you're going to get exposed awful quick too.
Yeah.
If you're messing around.
I mean, that's going to be awesome.
You going to use a 60-second shot clock, or are you going to make them hit every 30 just to speed it along?
I think it's going to be more than enough, probably.
That's awesome.
Where are you, instead of changing gears now from where you're promoting, where are you going to drive this year?
I think I'm going to do the Ruckersville Spring Derby. I'm not sure whether I'm going to go to do a big car or not, but I was leaning more towards running the old Prairie Ram big car we had. And I'd like to do Rumble at the Rock, but I don't think the team show's really going to happen, to be honest.
Right.
I just don't see it happening.
Sure.
But yeah, other than those, I plan to go back to Madison County. That was a big ordeal there last year. I don't think I've been teamed on that hard in a long time. And I think I'm going to bring back an automatic car down there. I ran my 5-speed Grand Am down there, and it was kind of awkward getting used to Derby in a manual. And I ripped the shifter clean out of the floor.
That's awesome.
A fun experience.
And are you going to Shenandoah or no?
Shenandoah County, I got something special planned for that. Believe it or not, after that showing over there, Mark Wolf, he still gives me stuff about it. I'm going to paint sandbagger down the side of my car for all my cars this year. But yeah, I'm going to take a 6-cylinder back over there. I'm going to try to take one Monday night and Tuesday night. And I know if I win both nights, it'll probably just be a straight rage fit from everybody.
I can't wait to see it. One way or the other. I want to see it. I'm looking forward to it.
That'll be wild.
And you're talking about coming down there for that one.
Yeah. I may make the trip.
That would be good. I'm looking forward to it. Greg is Actually, I met Greg before I even knew about Shenandoah County. He builds model cars and stuff,
okay.
and that's how we initially got to know one another. And had a chance to see him run last year, and he picked up the win, which was cool. So, and now he's stepping into promotion. So we're looking forward to seeing Greg continue to grow and evolve in his derby life. And you got to keep us posted more as more stuff develops with those speedway shows. And I'm really hoping you at least come and watch down there at Rumble of the Rock in Rockingham County this year. At least come to watch, say hi.
Well, yeah. Me and Wayne Doval, he's normally a guy I normally run with. We've been pretty good friends for a long time. He's thinking about throwing a car for the Stoney Roberts class together, and he wants to, kind of get something together with him. And so I'm thinking, if we don't bring a team of compacts, we're going to bring some stock cars. We're going to tear something up down there that night, that's for sure.
Good to hear. Good to hear.
That's a good attitude right there.
We're gonna have to put a camera on that, and you're gonna have to go hammer down.
Yeah, you got to make junk to get famous.
You got that right. Yeah. Somebody should put that on a shirt.
I read that on a shirt once. Maybe a sticker. I can't remember which it was.
Yeah. Well, Greg, I appreciate you taking some time out. I know we had to shoehorn it in here to make sure that you had some time on the show, and I'm glad everything panned out. Thanks a lot for calling back too. That's about the first time I've ever had that happen in all the shows I've ever done on here. We called and the person called back. That was cool. Looks like we got Steve back now too. Cool. Greg, man, I appreciate it, and we'll be talking soon. We're gonna have Andy Vona here on in just a minute.
All right, thank you, Chris.
Thanks, man. We'll talk to you later.
All right, bye-bye.
There goes Greg Alger, the DerbyParts.com hotline. Cool guy. He certainly had some adversity down there, and I am looking forward to when he gets the shows up and running on that asphalt.
Yeah, asphalt with compacts is going to be insane.
Yep.
I mean, I guess it really depends on what tire rule he allows to run, because the way that it works, if it's really a stock show, we run a lot of asphalt stuff out here, and the first few minutes is pretty crazy, but then after that, these guys start getting flats, and it goes back to just being a regular derby again.
I don't know. Up until that happens, I just I see a lot of carnage. That'll be a good time.
You've run on asphalt before?
Yeah, tons of times. Thompson, Connecticut, Thompson Speedway, they run derbies right on their front stretch on the asphalt. I won there in a Corsica one year and finished second in a Cavalier the second year. And that show, they're sponsored by some junkyard there local, so they keep your car when you're done. You haul it down there, you run the derby, and you get out and walk away.
So make sure it's junk when you're done.
Yeah, well, I ran there twice and got tired of leaving my good cars there, so that was it.
But you got to take home the big trophy, and the money that's not bad.
Well, here's the thing, Ryan, and we talked about derbies that support the drivers and stuff, and nothing against Thompson, but they don't. We went down there, and they were supposed to pay $1,000 to win. And we showed up all the way down there from New Hampshire, and they in the driver's meeting they said, "Hey, it's not $1,000 to win; it's $1,000 total, and it's like $600 to win." And then they split it up. And then they had the audacity to say, "Well, you see those grandstands out there? They're packed full, standing room only, and these people paid $15 a piece to get in there. So you guys better make sure you put on a show."
Nice.
Yeah, that was the last year I went.
That's great.
You guys better put on a show. It's wow. You ever have everybody tell you that? Guy, go put on a show?
Yeah, I've heard a number of times.
Yeah.
They don't really care about us, they just want the money.
Guy almost won. He had it won at Black Rock in the spring and decided, enough of this, and just tore up Andy Brown, and then Andy ended up winning it. And then was set to do the same thing at Black Rock in the fall and had some electrical problems in that car, right?
It was close. It was a serpentine belt. It got frozen solid.
I thought you had electrical problems on that one.
Nope, never electrical. I move all my wires. I move everything on every car I run, even if they're junk.
Andy Vona says that I was the reason why he didn't do very well in metal destruction last year because I put a camera on his car. Is that right? Is that right? You're pulling the Josh Decker card and saying that I'm the reason why you had electrical problems?
No, I said I'd let you throw another one on there this year. It wasn't electrical problems. It was steering.
Andy Vona picked up the 2013 New York State Championship this year at the New York State Fairgrounds. So congratulations again on that. We appreciate you coming on the show and talking with us. We were talking a little bit about the potential to have a high payout show at Weedsport, an alternate state championship. This idea has come back around again, and just kind of, as a past winner of Syracuse, wanted to get your thoughts on it. And would you entertain the idea of something like that? Would you want to support something like that? And also, what would you like to, if it happened, what would you like to do in terms of a build?
We already have a stock state championship at State Fair. I'd like to see more of, V8 bumpers, more of a weld class, but I'd definitely be there either way.
Yeah. Interesting. I mean,
if there's going to be a show within, an hour and a half of me that pays that kind of money, it's hard not to be there.
Absolutely.
But you going to get one? You going to get a small car?
I've thought about it. I had a lot of fun. One year, Kyle had the Pros versus Joes down the
where? Seneca County Fair?
Down to that place where I like to run. Hope we're still buddies Beal. But Kyle had that Pros versus Joes, and I ran that Monte Carlo, and I had no time in it, no investment. The only thing I did was put a ratchet strap behind the seat because I figured I'd break that over backwards, but I solved that by not backing up. So that was a lot of fun. I mean, went out and I drove it hard and had a good time. And I've honestly thought about it, but my thing is I don't know. I know nothing about building a compact car. I don't know what's got to be moved. What to do. So I mean, I could get one and knock the windows out of it and stand on the gas for.
I can put you in touch with a couple of guys that can help you out with that information.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
But I'm still trying to get 2 big cars done for this year. But I think it'd be fun. I mean, there's like I said, it's I'm a fan of hitting people fairly fast, but sometimes those guys get hit really hard, and I don't know how all my old bones would take that, but it would be neat. I mean, if I could find something relatively cheap, I'd probably give it a whirl.
Andy ran a bunch of times this year, and he had success pretty much every place that he went, other than when he had, the steering issues in Cuba. Andy, tell us a little bit about what your season was like, and ultimately coming away from Syracuse with the title in your hand.
Well, started at Cuba with obviously a very disappointing 1.5-minute finish. Then
easiest in-car video to edit ever.
It was probably a lot of work to edit that.
Nope.
Then I took that car up to Morris, got first place with it, brought it back to Tioga, got first and hardest hitter with it, qualifying for State Fair with it. Finally junked after 5 runs. Then Broome County took second. Me and my cousin Jeremy Smith, came down to the 2 of us, and we just said put the back bumpers to the wall, meet in the middle, and put on a show. It didn't matter who got first or second. I'm actually kind of glad he got first so he could make it up to State Fair and compete up there as well. And then that was really about it other than State Fair. I finished off some pre-rans at local shows, but then State Fair, it actually ended up coming down to me and my cousin again, so like I said, glad he got to win Broome so he could be there.
And watch you walk away with the title.
Hey, I mean, going 1-2 made it that much more special, though.
Yeah, it's a good way to end up.
Guy, what's wrong? You look.
I didn't say anything. I'm just watching you.
Yeah. Well, I'm actually talking with Brian Sipple right now, and he is formulating a decision on what he's going to do. So I just sent him a couple messages. We will be able to break that right now, definitively what is going to happen with Weedsport. So hopefully in the next maybe 15 minutes or so, we do have to get out of here a little bit early. We have a sectional basketball game coming up at Seneca, coming up here at 7 o'clock on Figure Lakes 1. So that's going to be live from the high school basketball circuit here in town. So we're going to get out of here to give them time to get all their stuff set up and jump on the airwaves. Andrew, where are you planning on running this year? You doing the same circuit again, or?
Mostly, yeah. I missed Hartford last year. I had a wedding to go to. I'll be back at Hartford, Cuba, Morris, Broome, and Tioga. Maybe a couple of total destruction shows. If they do that Weedsport one, I'd definitely be interested in getting up there. And then from there, it just depends on what I've got left pre-ran to take somewhere and just finish off.
On the topic of total destruction, happy birthday to Austin Manshaki. He had a birthday this week, and Total Destruction. You can see some more of their information online. TotalDestructionDemo.com. They got some advertising that's going to be coming out in this next edition of Derby Inc. magazine. They got a pretty good program. They're allowing the cradle swaps and the Fords. They're bringing the Imperials back in a general population. You can see that at the Ontario County Fairgrounds coming up in July, and then they've got one of the busiest 6-day stretches in Demolition Derby when they put on the Otsego County Fair in Morris and do the Franklin County Fair in Malone. They basically drive up and down 81 8 times over the course of that time frame to oversee those two shows. New rule book being implemented at the Malone show. Really looking forward to what's going on up there. Scott Cook, he's already got stuff in. He's building for that, so it's kind of exciting to see what's going to happen up there. And then, of course, there's a lot of people looking forward to what's going to happen with Morris between the spring show and what they've got offered and at the Otsego County Fair. A lot of guys really looking forward to that, especially the guys that have Imperials.
Yeah, yeah. I know Engelhart was talking about it down at the Derby party. We were talking, and he was looking forward to the opportunity to possibly run, more than just Brookfield with his Imperials, because Rick builds a pretty tough Imperial.
He builds a tough Imperial, but it doesn't last anything more than the night because he just brings it home full like a banana.
yeah, but at least he can do it at a different track. I mean, I guess maybe it gets boring wrecking him at the same place every year.
It's just getting I guess it probably gets old being booed by the same people though, all the time. You go someplace else where you can be a hero, right?
Oh, God, that still absolutely blows my mind that somebody like Rick can get booed.
Yeah,
Well, he is the 2013 Sandbagger of the Year, so.
Yeah,
that was rigged.
I was going to say, I think Chad Whitney's the one that wrote all 5,000 of those votes, if I remember the story right.
Before we get too far off of Andrew, I do want to come out and say, as a Suedo representative of Wood Booger Demolition Derby, I do the announcing for most of their shows. It would be really, really awesome to have the 2013 New York State champion come out and compete for the title of Northeast champion. I think that'd be really awesome to have someone of your caliber. You won a state championship. We're gonna have some Vermont state champions coming down to Massachusetts as well, and it would be really cool to see you guys all kind of hit the track together and compete for Northeast championship.
It's been discussed. It'd be an issue of finding a 2-car hauler. I mean, I don't want to run a car in the heat and then up out there against a bunch of fresh cars in the feature and, end up just getting chewed up because I had leftovers and someone else had a fresh car. So it's definitely being discussed, but probably won't happen this year.
2-car hauler, all you got to do is, put one with a tow bar and then a logging chain to the second one. You're hauling 2 cars.
I've done it to local shows, but our drive might be a little much like that.
I wouldn't worry about it. Hammer down. I'm sure they wouldn't be too upset once you got on the throughway.
Now Brian's starting to sound like me on the way here. I seen
They
a couple.
They love that kind of thing on the throughway.
Oh yeah.
Do you have a 2-car trailer?
No, I don't. I wish I did.
Yeah.
I got like 4 trailers in my disposal. But
Yeah. You can just start welding them together.
Weld one on top of the other with
we'll make a triple.
What do they call that out like Australia? Road train?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have doubled and tripled on my license. I've actually talked to New York State DOT about it, and they more or less laughed in my face. But I told them I didn't see how that was any different than me pulling 2 48-foot trailers down the highway.
Absolutely.
Apparently it is.
Could you take one trailer and kind of weld
Stack 'em.
it on top of the other with hydraulics so it turns into one of those lift ramps?
Yeah, that'd go.
I bet you that'd go over well, right?
I'd probably go over better than pulling 2 of them on the road.
You know what he could do in all seriousness is like you see
I'm afraid of what you're going to say right now.
You see the guys out west hauling cars back, and they'll have a gooseneck trailer, and they turn them over and stack them up.
Yeah,
that's all you'd have to do is on your first car, put it on the trailer. Second car, drain the fluids out of it, and then turn it over and stack it. Tie them down on the trailer. I mean,
this is probably the smartest idea Brian's ever had, so nobody may pick on him for this.
That would be, and then you'd have your heat car, your feature car hammered down. It'd be great.
Well, if you had a 2-car trailer, you could bring 3 or 4.
Absolutely, maybe 6.
Let's not get well, maybe. If they're small, real small. You haven't done that, have you? You haven't started turning them upside down?
Stack them just like cordwood.
Who are you talking to? Me?
Anybody that has actually done it. I want to know how this worked.
We did it last year, or not last year. What year? 2 years ago. Me and my buddy Edward Bello. He's a favorite at Broome, but we took 2 cars.
You get some cheers to it, bro. I mean, throw it out there. He made that cool shirt for you.
Oh yeah, thanks. But I'm just saying, we stacked 2 cars on one trailer 2 years ago. We had one almost up on the back of the truck. It was nose completely up. It was on, I think, a little 28-foot pull-behind single trailer. It was stacked up on the top of the back of the truck. The wheels was just hanging on the trailer by maybe 6 inches. We had it on an angle, so we used car ramps for the second trailer. We stuck them right in front of that one and drove the one right up on top of the other one's hood. So they were sitting sort of like that. Wow. We went to Broome. We had one right on top of the other.
That's awesome.
Half in. We had to flatten the tires on the one, so we cleared the underpasses, but we flattened the ones on the front, so the front sat, and then we just put the other one on top of it. They weren't exactly on each other, but they were slanted. It looked like
nice work.
Falling down dominoes.
Can I tell you, the first time I ever went to a derby and seen a truck pulling a trailer with cars chained behind it was coming out of the Broome County Fairgrounds. And there was like 3 cars with chains behind a trailer.
It was Frank.
No,
Frank did it to a Wego. Frank Swansboro.
It was, I almost want to think it might have been somebody.
Might have been, Andy said it might have been him.
This was years ago. It might have been somebody in the crew of Brett Relier. They might have towed a few cars out of there that way.
Here it is. Breaking news. It's going to happen at Weedsport. 1,500 to win minimum. 6 and 4s together on September the 13th.
Not a bad date.
Brian Sipple is going to put that show on at the former Cuba County Fairgrounds, or Cuba County Fair Speedway, or Weedsport Speedway, whatever you want to call it. It's the new Weedsport Speedway now, and it's going to happen September 13th. 4s and 6s, at least 1,500 to win. Format yet to be determined, be it a qualifying program or invitational only, or, which is always an option, just open entry. Whoever wants to come can come. So there's some pretty interesting news for all you compact guys. Start getting your welders ready, because he's got a pretty good set of rules. You can find those on the Ransomville Speedway website. If you want to go check that out, he'll also be doing a show out there in Ransomville 4th of July weekend.
I'm going to go out on a limb right now and say Jake Doyle is early favorite to win that show.
Yeah. I'm sure if he's listening, or if Mike Felice is listening, there's phone calls being made as we speak.
Oh, absolutely. Jake Doyle, early favorite for that show. Sorry, guy.
That's all right. I'm fine. I've talked to him. Good bunch of guys there.
Guy likes being the underdog.
Yeah, that's fine. I love being
okay
the guy
it.
that nobody likes. That's okay.
I didn't say I didn't like you. I just know Jake, and when there's $1,500 on the line, I got to go with Jake.
Yeah. Well, you got another one added to your schedule, September 13th, Andrew.
Yes, I'll definitely be there.
Does he need a good announcer?
Previous state fair champions qualify.
Hey, we'll leave that up to Brian to decide. But if you want to get a hold of him, he's on Facebook, Brian Sipple. Check him out, and you can fire any questions that you got at him, and by all means, as we get more information on it, we'll release it here as well. We are just about out of time. We got to start thinking about getting out of here. We still got to add that we got to play. And Andrew, I appreciate you coming on and talking a little bit about your season, and we look forward to catching up with you here as the season goes on in 2014.
No thanks, no problem. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. We'll talk again soon. Thanks a lot.
All right. Yep. Bye.
Bye now. Got to do this quick order of business first before we go any further.
Because we pay the bills.
Yep, that's right. This is Steve's favorite part, because he gets to hear himself announcing in the background. This is why he enjoys this part so much. Here we go.
No.
The rules are just right. Set aside July 19th for the reinvented Keystone Nationals. Again this summer, Bo Lockwood will host the Keystone Nationals at the Jefferson County Fairgrounds in Brookville, Pennsylvania. A revamped rulebook will help welcome an all-star field as the limited well division takes center stage in a feature paying $5,000 to win. Pre-entries for the stock division are already full. For more details, join the Keystone Nationals community online at www.facebook.com/Keystone Nationals. Once again, the Keystone Nationals, July 19th, 2014 at the Jefferson County Fairgrounds, Brookville, Pennsylvania.
Hey, who is that black car with the lightning bolts, number 14?
I would be Mr. Pete Hansen.
I just wondered.
Mr. to you.
Mr.
Pete Hansen.
Pete Hansen.
Yep, all his friends call him Pete.
New name, new promoters, new format. The annual Spring Derby, hosted at Fireman's Park in Cuba each June, was given a facelift this offseason, and the 3,500 to win Limited Weld Championship is now known as the Smashed Empire Nationals. The event is set for June 7th, 2014. The event will be directed again by Jason Butts, with rule enforcement and inspection in the hands of Jeremy Hayduke and Derby Dog Productions.
The limited weld and 1200 to win economy divisions will go back to a heats and feature format. The compact one and done will pay 1200 to win, and the card includes trucks and the 1100 to win compact Team Border War. General admission for adults and children over 8 years is $10. Kids 7 and under are 5. Pit access is $1, and vendors can set up for 100. Admission gates open at 11 a.m. Pit gates open at 9. Inspection closes at 12:30, and action begins at 3. Be sure to go on Facebook and like the Smashed Empire Nationals, www.facebook.com/Smashed Empire Nationals, and check back for announcements and updates. There we go. Got them all. Got them all paid up. Everything's all taken care of. We got Total Destruction in there. We got Keystone Nationals in there. Smashed Empire Films or Smashed Empire Nationals, and we got Bash for Cash. So we covered all the bases. Did we cover them all for sure? Did we miss anything, Steve?
I think that's everything.
All right.
Steve, how's the chat room looking?
Actually, really good tonight. We've had several people in and out kind of as the show went on, but we've got Brandon Hayes checking in from Illinois.
Good to know he's doing better, too.
Yeah, absolutely. Nick Sorella from Minnesota here with us. Sandbagger of the Year 2013 here with us as well. Mr. Rick Engelhart. Derby Kin checking in. John's here with us. And I believe that's Steve Lanin. I'm not sure if it's Steve, but Steve Lanan's here.
He'll be happy to know that we're about to wrap up so that he can let his daughter have wheels of the bus back.
Perfect. And WAP is in here too, but I don't know who he is in real life. I met him at the party, but I don't know who he is by that name. So
you don't remember everybody you met at the party, Steve? All 350 people?
Well, if he didn't introduce himself as WAP at the banquet, so I don't know who it is.
All right.
Go no further with this.
It's not like Wahoo where everybody knows who that is.
Absolutely.
Everybody does know who that is. That guy is unforgettable.
Yeah, that's a good word.
Did you meet him?
I believe so.
Yeah, he was something. He had a good time. He was yelling at me because I didn't know where any of the local anythings were. He goes, "I just assumed that you were from around here." I'm like, "I don't know where anything is."
Yeah, you did get us lost on the way to the rain bar.
Oh yeah, but I knew where we were. I just knew that we weren't going the right way. Look for the mural. The key is to find the mural. All things emanate from the mural. And we got back there. We were fine.
Eventually.
What? The extra 3 minutes that it took? Now leaving Owego, good sign that we're in trouble. And there are no, and thank God there was no murals on that particular intersection.
Yeah, that would have
been. Yeah, I don't know where we are. It's a mural, but it's not the right mural. If you've ever been to downtown Owego, you know exactly what I'm talking about, and you know that the rainbow is within a stone's throw of that mural. It's the white sign you can see from down the road. Everybody needs to relax about this. Yeah. I think that's going to wrap it up for us, though, because we do have sectional basketball coming up here just a few minutes on Finger Lakes 1. We're going to try and get everything wrapped up on our end so that those guys can have the airwaves for Andrew Vona and Greg Alger. Of course, Guy Raymond, who came up to hang out with us here again in the studio. Thanks for coming up. We got Brian Tompkins and Steve Bucknam there watching the live chat and hang out with us from up there at his buddy's house in, what town was that?
We're in New Hampshire.
It's New Hampshire. Good enough?
The towns don't matter.
Good enough. It's New Hampshire. Live free or die, buddy, right?
That's right.
Yeah, that's going to do it for this edition of the Crash Course. We'll be back next week. We look forward to seeing you there.